Media, but you'll notice that today I've changed my title to PodIntelligence CEO. We're going to tell you all about the software my partner Adam and I have been developing, but we have a very special guest here today with us, Filip Fujic. And Fujic, I need to say it correctly. I actually nailed it like 5 minutes ago. It's fantastic because Filip not only has been a good friend, really a customer who has purchased products from Feisworld Academy, but also has been a consistent user for PodIntelligence. And on top of that, who's given us such fantastic feedback to make the product better. So I would love to be able to do this on a regular basis. You guys let me know if this is interesting, if anything in particular you want to learn. But before we get started, PodIntelligence is there, created for podcasters, creators, webinar hosts, and filmmakers, as we learned recently, to help you look at the forest and the trees, to understand all that content you have created for a season, for years. And we're going to show you even more. We're going to do some demos as well from Filip, maybe part myself. We have Adam as a developer here to answer any questions. So before we get started, you guys know a lot about me from Feisworld, but I'm going to pass the mic on to Adam first to introduce himself, and then we're going to have Filip to introduce himself as well.
Hey, so I'm Adam Leffert. I've been supporting Feisworld for quite a while, and on this project, I'm the designer and software developer of PodIntelligence. Outside of this, I'm also an Azure, C#, full stack cloud developer and architect, and I'm very happy to be turning those skills to this use and to support this community.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Filip, on to you. Please tell us where you're located as well. Most people might not know that.
Hi from the other side of the world then. I'm in Europe. I'm in Croatia. Thank you for nailing the surname. It's quite hard. So Filip Fujic. I'm in my day job, as they say. I'm a pricing mentor. I'm a solo, let's say, coach for people who are solopreneurs or close, who base their expertise on who base their work on expertise, and so what they're selling is what they know, right? And very often they come to this situation from an employer and don't really know how to price it properly, and then they get undervalued and underpaid, and this is basically my market. But I'm here to talk about how PodIntelligence fits into all of that, because I've got to know it pretty well now, and mostly I get my clients from the internet. I am in Croatia, but I had like one Croatian client in the last year. I mostly work with Australians, Canadians second, US third, and UK fourth, and then Singapore, South Africa, all over the place. And I do that by creating content, and this is where stuff gets interesting, right?
And you use content, Filip, as if I understand correctly, right? Like you have your YouTube channel, you probably publish regularly on LinkedIn and other social media channels, and to create content that attracts more of the right prospects and clients for your business. Is that correct?
Exactly. I try to give value upfront. That's the philosophy, because there's a lot of people who need this. I call it financial self-defense, because no mugger in the world can relieve you more money than you not knowing how to price yourself properly, right? So I have a public Q&A on YouTube, which I then record and stuff, and I have a newsletter which is pretty popular. It has like a 55% open rate. I'm very happy with this. It goes twice a week for a year now. So I give a lot out, and then some of it trickles back as clients, and I'm very, very happy with this balance.
Wow. I just want to take a moment to really acknowledge the fact that I think collaborations can happen in all forms and all locations. And look at us, we don't have to be located in the same place. And Filip, when I think about your scenario, I'm really grateful that, you found us and decided to build a deeper connection relationship. And if not mistaken, Adam, I remember that you met Filip through Quora. Is that
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah. He was
Tell us
posting
about
about
your origin.
pricing and being very opinionated. And I'm like, well, what about this? Have you thought of that? And we started, batting the ball back and forth. And then it moved to the DMs, then to the emails. We're like, oh, let's just jump on a Zoom call.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam gave me some advice about a year ago. Year and a half. I got a fatal question from an American, actually. I'm doing. I'm reaching out to people all over and doing. And so a lady asked me, so where can I find you, right? And I was like, Quora. And that did not sound good even to me. So then I started being interested in YouTube, and I tried out some things from a professional cameraman and some Adam gave me advice, and one of the advice I got is to start consuming your stuff, of course, Faye. And then I bought the starter pack first, and then and so anyway, now it's a year and a half later, and that's a pretty big difference now. When people ask me where can I find you, I can rattle off, right, like a list. I even started something on TikTok recently, so we can talk about short videos as well.
Wow. This is like the perfect storm. And you mentioned YouTuber Kid. I just added a link. If you guys, as we're talking about different things, if you want to add more links and your thoughts and quoting each other, the chat is the perfect window for that. So I think since we're here to kind of focus on one thing today, potentially, and then we can branch out to others, is about PodIntelligence. And here's a bit of my origin stories for those of you who are thinking like, why is Feisworld doing this? Well, not everybody necessarily remembers the year I started the podcast. It was back in 2014 when personal podcasts were just not that popular. And I was even writing about this experience earlier today, that as a woman of color, English as a second language, and I was really not in a corporate leadership position at the time, and never was. It wasn't very trivial or straightforward for me to be like the spokesperson, like building a personal brand. It was very strange, but certainly one of the best decisions I've ever made. So one of the reasons why we started PodIntelligence, and we call it PI, short for PodIntelligence, is the fact that after I produced now 323. This is 324, episode 324 right here, or 23 maybe. As you can imagine, there's just so much being talked about. I have, really transformed as a creator, for better or for worse, but there's just a lot of content surrounding all of that. It has been, and before PI's creation, so hard to understand, like, what the heck did I actually talk about? Like, my topics have really transitioned. I know that Filip, as a content creator now, how quickly we grow and different things we talk about with different people, even if we have scripted the questions. Because, as guests, as this conversation could go in all sorts of directions. So I said, wouldn't it be great to create something like a podcast intelligence for me to really dive into all the content and create these snippets, audios and videos and quotes, and understanding the keywords, and really have that insights to create a content calendar. It was a kind of well thought out, but I was far from having the development ability to do that. So Adam kind of jumped in, and we started mocking things up, and really took, I think, a few days to a few weeks to realize, whoa, holy crap, this is really something. So Adam, do you want to talk about like the beginning days of you being involved in Feisworld podcast, and when did you see, and you still see as this huge opportunity? We're working with a dozen or so clients, which is not a lot, but we're really caring and catering to their needs. Like, could you maybe talk about that a bit?
Sure. So this is an idea that actually I've been kind of wrestling with for decades, which is coming from a background in a family that always talks about big things and uses big words. In high school and college and after college, reading so much subtlety and so much vast knowledge and ideas. I've always wanted to say, sort of, what can I hold on to? What's clear? what are the major points? I remember, frankly, being kind of stressed out sometimes in college, thinking, there are thousands, tens of thousands of things. How can I remember this? So over that time, I've developed the habit of calling out kind of the bullet points in my mind. So PodIntelligence is the latest generation of different ways I've gone about trying to help myself with that and help other people with that. So specifically what it does, most importantly, and what I've learned from tough lessons of producing software is, number one, you do almost nothing. That's the first thing I want to share. And Filip can hopefully be very frank and tell us if this is true, but all you got to do to get involved is just throw your stuff at us. There's a purchase price. We can do it one episode at a time. We can do it a whole season at a time. But you give us your content, let's say 50 episodes, and we instantly, in a few days, give you something back. You don't have to prepare it. You don't have to tag it. You don't have to do anything. So what do you get back? And I'll just name some of the things because there's so much more to talk about. You get a word cloud, which is a graphic a lot of people are used to. Your keywords already called out, identified by AI with a background of the actual words, the smaller words from your conversation. I'll let Filip speak to that. He's had some experience with that. But you also get a spreadsheet, which has not only the keywords, but all the clips with those keywords, start and end times. You get the actual clips. And this big sort of almost a shocker, which you don't need to use, but you can if you want, called Obsidian, which we'll get into, which allows you to just type anything, any phrase, and instantly you can see which episodes you've used that phrase in. And then either to finish, create social media content so much easier. I'll say 10 times faster than without it. Or go back over your own content to think about writing a book or creating a course. As Faye was saying, what did I talk about? What do I want to go in deeper or identify themes as they change over time?
That's a great reflection. As Adam was describing that, I want to quickly just pop open. During Feisworld live stream since 2020, there's been dozens of episodes, and through PodIntelligence, Adam was able to generate what we call the multi-episode, like a summary word clouds of all the topics that's been talked about. And the same thing, it's something that you'll get at the per episode level. Like for instance, at the end of our conversation today, we're able to generate a very quick word cloud to understand all the key topics. And one thing, as we have the tendency of driving our eyes to like, oh, these bigger numbers or bigger phrases and words, I often find sort of the edge words or like medium-sized words to be even more interesting, right? So we're going to show you guys a lot more visually so that it's easier for people to understand.
And before we move on, Filip had told me sort of offline that he had some thoughts and experiences with the word cloud.
Yeah, well, that's initially when you told it, when you described what I get, just like you did. That was the part that I got excited for first, because far from having scripted questions, I threw myself at the mercy of the internet for like 30 episodes of me being there, not knowing who will come and what questions I will get, right? And it was actually a thrill because I could be asked anything. So I was fully prepared that I would not know how to answer something. That did not happen. I successfully answered like 160 questions or something like this, but I had no idea what would happen. So these things went into pretty random directions after the first question, right? Sometimes you get follow-ups, sometimes you don't get follow-ups. And I was really interested in seeing the word clouds because, I can go back and look at it, but you get invested in what is being said, and you literally don't see the forest from the trees. You see the word cloud from all of the words flying in your face. Because, and of course, when it's you on camera, you listen to your voice. You say, my eyebrow just popped there, or whatever. So you can't really concentrate on this. So I really, really, really was interested in this, and what I got was really recognizable for me. For one thing, and it was coming because it had the right things right in the middle.
Mhm.
Even when I thought, well, this time we just talked about an edge question.
Mhm.
No, it's all good. And the multi the one that for everything looked like I wanted it to look, uh, like 80%. It's very rare that you can have such a macro zoomed out,
Mhm.
not a bird's eye view, a satellite view of 9-10 hours of
Mhm.
pure video, right?
I
Awesome.
love the metaphor of satellite view because I think it's so cool to think about us being like astronauts. And which, by the way, it's actually a character when we're designing Pod Intelligence, we're thinking about cute rockets, like take off, how to really take off with your content. And then I was thinking, wait, we need an icon that actually shows an astronaut. Like there's a human element. So one thing, if you're watching this, guys, like I just want to call out the fact that is Pod Intelligence 100% automated? The answer is no, and probably will not be for quite a while. And this is why we're so proud of it. There are a lot of tools out there in the world today. Melville, like is one recent one I checked out. There are 4, 5 different like quote unquote competitors to Pod Intelligence. I welcome you to check them out as well. But they actually operate very differently. And I feel bad from a marketing perspective. Like people are getting confused. Like, why are there so many 5 to 10 different AI tools for podcasters floating out there? So there are a lot of differences. One of which is that we're not 100% automated. The reason is if you're listening to this and if you tried out some of these AI tools, as I have tried out all of them, there is just a lot of, how do I say, is inaccuracies related to artificial intelligence. Now, we as developers and creators don't build these AI tools. That's why they're very much imperfect. And when you push your podcast, whether it's 60 minutes or 60 hours of content through AI, there's gonna be some gibberish and garbage in there. That's just unfortunately the reality of it. And so Victorio is back. We're actually using Restream to go live right now, and we're talking about the tool that we have created for podcasters, which is called Pod Intelligence. Thank you for being back here. Victorio gave us a lot of questions yesterday during our live show as well. So we're very proud to have that human touch with our background, Adam's experience, my experience, to help creatorpreneurs. We want to continue to run the company this way, to give you the love and that human touch to really understand and relate to your business, because in my opinion, that's going to be the best product we'll ever have. So with that said, Filip, I know that you're like putting you on a spot here. I think people really love seeing how this thing actually functions. So if you want to take a moment to talk through how you use a tool, Obsidian, which is what you introduced to us to integrate and to work with, PI is really powerful. And for those of you thinking like, do I have to use Obsidian? You don't. You can work with us and just look at the Pod Intelligence data as word clouds, as Excel spreadsheets, as separate slice and dice audio and video clips generated from keywords. But if you're a little bit nerdy and want to, use an indexer and viewer, Filip is going to show us how he uses that. So you want to
Yeah,
take a moment?
absolutely. So
Cool.
if you're not using Obsidian, what you get, what I got initially, was a folder with subfolders and subfolders of subfolders. Uh,
Mhm.
but so that's something that anybody with zero experience with any kind of program can use. Just open it up,
Mhm.
and right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like this. I just
just
want to show people this
yeah.
is without Obsidian, right? Like Feisworld live stream. This is what you'll get. We'll prepare the Obsidian for you. If you purchase more than 5 or 6 episodes, right? But you get all of these individual episodes, and within each, you get all the clips related to the keywords. As I mentioned before, you'll get all these like images as well. But yeah, let me stop
And
sharing
we're
here.
going to
So.
say we're going to dive deep into Obsidian, but let's just take a 30-second look at the spreadsheet, because you absolutely do get the folders, but there is a step that's even easier to use before that. So if you do want to look through the keywords, and we'll get to Obsidian in a moment,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you get a spreadsheet which simply lists the keywords so they can be very quickly and easily scanned, as Faye is
Mhm.
open in the
Yep. So I need to
Excel file.
share. Yep. I need to share a different part of the screen now, and share
Okay.
this spreadsheet
Cool.
for you
Yeah.
guys to take a
So
look
if
at.
you imagine an hour of video and or audio, having to look through it, kind of a drag, certainly for a dozen or 2 dozen. So in column A, those are the keywords. So you
Yep.
can look at analytics, art school, boom, and then right next to it, the episode, then
I'm going to
the
make it a
now
little bit
times.
bigger for you guys to see.
Oh, sorry, Adam. This is the one for all of the videos, right?
Okay. So we have two. So for everybody who submits a bunch of episodes, we give you one spreadsheet per episode if you want to focus. So say, oh, I talked about my 50th birthday. I talked about accusation audits. These are from Chris Voss, right? Or Derek Kahn of Black Swan negotiation training. So you want to focus on the episode, you grab the spreadsheet, and in probably under a minute, a few seconds, you can see the keywords. This is one that shows you all the episodes. So if you say, oh, when did I talk about ad? When did Faye talk about ad revenue? Oh, Asa Soule, the Excel expert. So if you want to know across your podcast season or across your YouTube or your webinars, when did I mention affiliate links? Oh, the expert Joanna Penn, the honor of meeting at Podcast Movement. So just to say that, so I'll put it there and go back to Filip and Obsidian. But for people who just want to try the product, push a button, you can look at keywords, you can see episodes, you see times. The right-hand thing is the text, so you can just see what the little 1-minute quote was. And then you can bounce right to the folder, grab an audio clip already made for you. You can put it right on social media. Grab a video clip if you've got video, same thing, cut right for you to put up on social media. So this is the even easier, no software required. That said, and we can get this stuff on our website to get deep into that. That said, I bounced to my friend Filip to show the super powerful
Another way to navigate all this without folders.
Absolutely.
Let's check it out.
I just wanted to say it's very hard to even try to imagine doing this, by hand, right? So you would have to, I don't know, for Air Force here, right? You would have to go listen to it and just listen for you saying this, and then write that down at 2-minute mark, 5-minute mark, and 6-minute mark, and then listen to the end to see if you said it again, and do that for no. I'm not doing that, right? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so helpful. And sometimes, like, Filip, that's another thing, like, I forget. And I'm looking at this like, yeah, we did talk to Yifat Cohen about being in Air Force. You know, she's originally from Israel. And that's interesting to me. Like, I talked to a woman who used to be in the Air Force. And I looked right down here, Eden Liu, who's now based in New York. And I talked to her about Ali Mama, which is the most incredible dessert place in the Chinatown of New York City. And I look at this as like, I already forgot. It's like, oh, Feisworld talked about Amazon Prime. And now we're looking at literally, guys, like not even 5% of the spreadsheet. So you could, look at the word clouds. You can look at the insights of your podcast. You've talked about so much more. And we haven't even talked about these additional tabs down here. Well, we also grouped brands, different bigger topics, right? Bigger topics like accounting, art museums, individual people. And by their names. Sometimes there's certain names that come up over and over again. And Ali Abdal, I'm kind of surprised it catches that too in different locations, whether it's country or like airports or cities. And it's just so fascinating that we get to, it's kind of with this magical experience of, wow, we talked about, we have so many connections beyond all. Like if I want to go to Asia, want to go to Croatia, guess who's we're going to contact, literally. So
Absolutely. I wanted to say I recommended PodIntelligence quite a few times now, because I have a couple of acquaintances that I would like to monetize their podcast or their show, and it's one thing if you come to a brand and say, oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about your product.
True.
It's completely different if you can show them a spreadsheet with this minute, this second, these sentences. I already mentioned you 15 times, right?
Yeah.
That is
reverse engineer this,
right?
This is so crazy. Like these are the things that we discover from working with people that we don't even think about.
What I do generally is I talk about value communication. So how do you communicate value? So whenever I see value, I try to call it out. Anyway, speaking of value, Speaking of value, um, when I got the results from Adam, I geeked out a bit, because I saw these text files and these tables and stuff, and said, okay, so this is fairly simple forms of data. And
Mhm.
I know Obsidian, I'm absolutely no kind of developer. I'm a no code only. But I understand that Obsidian, which is a free tool, by the way, it has some paid upgrades, but I think that should be said. Whoever wants to work with this, there's no additional charge for this on Obsidian's side. Um, it's made with Markdown language. It's made from very simple files. So I asked Mr. Developer here, could you
Mhm.
possibly uh, make the output compatible with Obsidian? And he said, basically, what the hell is Obsidian? Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I showed them. I showed that to him, and he said,
Mhm.
"Okay, let me work on this." And when I got it back, so this is what I did. Okay, so Mr. Not Developer here. I got it. I zipped it. So
Mhm.
I unzipped it because you get it in a zipped form. I put one folder in my main folder, one folder in my downloads folder in Obsidian, and that's it. That's it. I did
Mhm.
absolutely no click on import export. No. In
Mhm.
Windows Explorer, I just dragged, dropped, and it works.
Mhm.
And I want to show you how that looks. Okay.
Let's do it.
So just a second. I'll share this and then share this. Can
Oh,
you see
cool.
it?
Let me add that to the screen right now.
Okay.
Whoa, this is so crazy. I love the layout of the window. I
Uh,
love birding out like this. Mhm.
Thank you. So these are just word clouds. So I from 9 hours of video, I got 1900 video clips,
Mhm.
and each of them, whichever I click, don't be offended by this. This is just metadata which is auto created. So I did nothing here. This is as I got it. Okay. So I know which episode it is.
Mhm.
I know start time and time. What? So this is the text that I said. So this is a full transcript. It's pretty good. I didn't touch it at
Mhm.
all. As you can say, there's no ums and ahs and anything, which I definitely did. And then this is the audio,
consulting, but it makes no sense.
right? And
But it makes no sense.
video. So I have the audio clip here, I have the video clip here, and I have everything I said here, which means, oh yeah, and I had the keyword,
Mhm.
the ones that you saw in that Excel sheet, right on the left. I have it here. It's tagged, so I can easily find all of them. But I can literally uh, search for anything I said in 9 hours of video and
Mhm.
find it and have a done for me audio and video clip, which I then just uh, locate on disk and drop into whatever I want and make it into content, right?
This
So
is so cool.
Also, Philip, just one tiny little point. If you
yeah.
click Obsidian into reader mode instead of editor mode, it'll hide the metadata at the top.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now just make it like a
It doesn't, because I told it not to, because
okay.
Ah.
so this is
Back to
this
the
is
show.
this is how you normally would look.
Okay,
This
cool.
is
Back to
how
the show.
it would normally look. Yeah, sorry. But this is so you can see it's a video clip, and that's it. So you don't see this unless you really want to, and I do for some reason. It doesn't really matter, right?
Mm. By the
Um,
So
way,
can you show
Philip,
us finding a word, like searching for just off the
yeah.
cuff
absolutely,
word and find
absolutely.
it?
So we talked about, let's say, oh, I know I used a quote somewhere. I quoted Game of Thrones. So, man who is king, right?
I can already see the result, right? It's already like previewing the result.
That's it,
Yeah.
right? A man who is king never has to say I am king. So Tywin Lannister, okay?
hmm
So
Something so specific that you can
yeah,
actually find the clip for. Yeah.
exactly. So no, this is not from. This is not only for PodIntelligence results, right? So I did not say this on video. This is all of my stuff that I have. Just a second. Let me see. Boss. Right. Okay. So when did I talk about bosses? Well, here and here and here. All of these, right? It shows this to me. So I know the episode and I know what I talked about here. As you can see, I have the context here. It's not just finding one word and then guess what you told, what you said about it. This is the full sentence here, right? So let's say I want to make a short video and I want to talk about something that has to do with bosses. I can just choose one of the however many, about 20, where I talked about that, and try out the video, try out the audio, and just put it somewhere and use it, right?
So speaking of which, Philip, I want to jump in and say the 3 dots next to the audio player and also the video player allows you to directly access the download those MP3 and MP4s so that you don't have to go anywhere else trying to like search for them. I know these things are, seems insignificant, but whether the people creators who love our products and podcasters do as well, and their virtual assistants, it's very hard to train someone to say, hey, why don't you listen to these 10-20 hours of content, which by the way a lot of virtual assistants still do. Those who work with podcasters, they literally have to read through the transcripts and they have to find a creator or a podcaster say, you know what, in this episode we talked a lot about affiliate marketing, but there are many different folds, different shades of affiliate marketing. Go find content related to that. You can't really narrow it down further if you don't know what are some of the keywords that you actually talked about. So Philip, to your point, as a creator, what I do now is I send these word clouds and summary keywords to my virtual assistant, to my content manager, and they do a stellar job at very quickly identifying exactly the clips I want. And frankly, it just saves me and them so much time.
Yep.
Yeah. Adam,
Absolutely.
do you want to add anything to this? Or just wondering?
I'm in a rare moment of nothing to say. So I think that Philip has achieved the impossible. I'm loving it. I'm loving just hanging back and watching the show.
So I take that as a high form of compliment. So anyway, this gives me completely unparalleled access to my own content, which is absolutely not. I could not. Without this, I could go back and listen to my own stuff, and maybe I made something about this or made something about that. What this allows me is to, like I said, my Obsidian here is not just for stuff that I got from PodIntelligence. So in general, this allows me to have like 50 themes that I talk about. Sorry, like this, and then let's say managing expectations or price lists, right? I know what are the keywords for these newsletters that I already made, answered videos that I already made. So this is from
so organized. My goodness.
This is automatic. So this is code, right? I didn't write it. I copy pasted it.
That's so cool.
As soon as I use PodIntelligence to tag something with this theme, it will show up here. So when I need another newsletter or video or whatever, I can just come here and see what questions have I answered who asked
Mhm.
them or whatever, and stuff like that. So
And Philip, I'm gonna like said this is really interesting. I think I would like to invite you to write a like a newsletter or blog post for us. This is definitely the intermediate level Obsidian usage, right? A lot of people might go, oh, this is too much for me, but oh my God, if I can do this with very little help, I'm just like Philip. I was never a developer before. How do I do this? If we could just, if you wanna share a blog post, just say this is literally the intermediate next step for Obsidian if you want to stay organized, because I see a lot of opportunities there. People do want to write newsletters. All our creators write weekly newsletters, and it's hard when the content runs dry. We'll be like, I don't have the time. Did I write something that I talked about 4 weeks ago? Why did I do that? Right? Like it's hard to plan for content. I think you did just that.
Thank you. So there's a completely different frame of mind when you're writing and when you're editing, right?
Mhm.
And when I'm in the zone, when I'm when I'm talking to people, high on adrenaline, I have no idea what's going to happen. I I can't really say, oh, I should definitely, file this under, make a newsletter out of it,
Mhm.
right? Um, and I never really have the time or the will to go back and list all of the great
Mhm.
ideas that just popped into my head,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes for some reason, for some trigger. And this, I don't really feel like it's possible for content ideas to run dry this way. I
Mhm.
don't really feel like that's possible. I
Mhm.
went from 40 minutes per newsletter to writing 15 minutes per newsletter without the character.
Yeah, I
Talking.
love hearing that.
Um, I'm still stunned, just like Adam is. Uh, I'm still stunned at how well this thing can spur
Mhm.
creation. You pile on creation. So right now, maybe I'll eat my words in a year, I don't know, but right now people ask me, okay, so you did like 500 pieces of content. Are you done with ideas? No, no, I have
Mhm.
I have a 3 times as large list of things
Yeah.
that I want to do. I have so much things that I wanted to blab about and so little time. So
This is so
uh,
cool. And so, Philip, how do that's another thing, right? Like creators are often feeling like on the spectrum of not having enough ideas, the content ran dry, or too many freaking ideas, don't know how to prioritize. There's very rarely I meet people to say, I feel like I have just the right amount of idea, just the right amount of time. So you are now thriving, let's say, through your years of experience using PodIntelligence on top of that. How do you prioritize the next ideas or the next 3 weeks of newsletters? How does PI or PodIntelligence maybe can help you choose that, like finding themes or common themes or common
uh,
questions?
everything I do is organized around themes,
Hmm.
and I figured out some themes and I clarified other themes by using specifically word clouds, actually, and
Hmm.
then some keywords, um, because this allows me to see where I use a word. I'm going to I'm going to show Obsidian again, okay? Just for
Hmm.
a second. Uh,
We don't mind.
While I was preparing that, I'll mention we're going to go both ways, right? I truly love the deep dive. We're going to dive deeper for the people who want that. And then whether it's Faye and I or Philip and I, we're going to also serve content for the people who are just like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I just want the 80/20. I just want the cream off the top. So we're
Yeah.
not going to pick one or the other. We're going to do both. We're going to serve the people who just want to grab the donut and run. And the people who are like, no, I need to maximize my value. How do I do that? Show me how to do that.
I love you adding that comment. And Philip, before I project your
yeah,
screen, one thing before we get started is that Adam and I do want to offer this very special service to people who really want to explore. I know there's so many options out there and everybody's time is limited. The last thing you want to do is spend money to buy something that you don't end up using or find valuable. So we absolutely want to offer one free episode, up to 60 minutes whatever you have, whether you're a filmmaker, podcaster, webinar host, send it to us. If you're watching this video, you can reach me. I'll list my email in just a second at hello@feisworld.com. You can also send us a question through PodIntelligence.com. So, whenever you're watching this, we know there's value in this. So we want to make sure you have access to that and try it out for yourself. So with that said, Filip, back to you. I've projected your screen because you want to share something with us.
I do. So this is a term that I use. It's not mine. It's an economist term. So when people say competition, it's fairly broad. It's people who do what you do within your industry. But when buyers look at stuff, they usually look at alternatives. So maybe to a psychiatrist, some people will think about a psychiatrist. Other people will say, no, I'll just get drunk, right? That's not competition, but that is an alternative. It's not a good alternative, but people see it as okay. So how do I use this word? So I only have 2 linked mentions. I mentioned it twice somewhere and made a link. So this is like a wiki, right? That's what I think. But I also used it 60 other times, and I can see all of these uses here. I can again see sentences. And this can allow me to better define how do I use this term. So if I want to make an episode about this, right, I can simply automatically see whenever I mention this and how, and then I can define it better. So not just trying to think of all of the ways, I see all of the ways in which I use this word in all of my content in the last 6 years.
That's crazy, right? And you can see the timestamp
really
too, like what I said last year versus 5-6 years ago. Do they overlap? Am I contradicting myself? Is there a good reason for that? Yeah,
exactly. So I'm stopping the sharing. I just wanted to show you this. This allows me to converge slowly but surely. I start building. I can talk about stuff that interests me. There's 50 themes that I talk about. All of them are value, communication, negotiation, pricing. All of them, but it's negotiation on one side. It's proposals on the other side. It's calculating stuff. It's buyer psychology. Doesn't really matter, but slowly it converges, and I slowly start using the same words, and this stuff helps me. I could do that with texts before because I entered all of my quarter questions and newsletters and this and that, but I couldn't do it with video, and now I can. And I have not a lot of video, not in your presence, Faye. Compared to you, I really don't, but it's still a lot. If I wanted to look at all of my video, it would mean like 12 hours of just watching video.
Just watching video. Yeah.
Who has extra 12 hours?
Yeah.
Not me.
That's so true. So this is so fascinating, Filip. I really appreciate, because we haven't really had the opportunity to talk about this. And for anybody who's watching now or later, leave us comments in the comment section. We do monitor these live stream content, and I know that not everybody's have an hour to watch the whole thing, and questions may not arise until later on. So let us know. I'm not going to put it on Filip, mostly Adam and myself, to answer any technical or business questions related to this. But yeah, I mean, this is fantastic to hear. A couple of recaps that what surprised me through this conversation is Filip's idea of basically a brand, a sponsor approach you to say, okay, I want to sponsor your video, or I want to share a blog for this amount of money on your website. Here's your domain authority, this and that. Or you're a podcaster, any collaborations, they always ask, what are the topics? Frankly, that's been the most challenging for me, because I can easily answer demographic, geographic information. The reports are there. There's never, ever been a tool that I could possibly use to actually show people the themes, the keywords, the cluster of keywords, and that's actually been talked about. I have no proof. Right. And somehow I feel like, in a way, that not to standardize this whole advertising sponsorship program, that's like the most surprising thing that I have learned, on top of many others. What about you, Adam? What have you been surprised by?
My thought is I want to answer Vittorio's question to say, yes, we will absolutely going to PI the PI video and we're going down that rabbit hole. So stay tuned for word clouds, keyword clips, brands, topics, people, and locations for what we talked about today.
Oh, I love it. That's so fun. We want to definitely keep in touch, Philip. And for people to learn more about your work, how could they find you and connect with you on Fearless Pricing?
Yeah, fearless pricing. I'm just in this moment finishing up my rebrand from Liftoff, which is my brand right now, into fearless pricing, which I think describes much better at what I do,
Mm.
because people don't charge as much as they should because they fear the consequences, and I help them on that. I'll share a link, or you'll share the link to the link tree. It's nothing fancy right now because, like I said, my website is under construction.
Mhm.
I do post a lot on LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel and a TikTok channel, and I fully recommend the newsletter because it's short and quippy and sometimes funny, and you always get something that can make you think about charging more. And each year I collect people saying, "Look, man, I never paid you anything, but I made it. I increased your price. Thank you so very much." And these mean a lot to me. So I can fully recommend all of that. So that one link tree, and that's it. That's all you need.
Cool.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, absolutely. The link is in the description below, and I also include it in the comments. But I hate to plan something and then walk away from this. Like, Philip, what are some of the things that people should keep in mind when thinking about increasing their prices? So they're twofolds. Most of our listeners, viewers are creatorpreneurs. So there are definitely a good amount of speakers, coaches, and their pricing packages are pretty standard these days with certain discounts, travel not included, whatever it may be. There's that group of people. And then there are people like myself who are digital producers and consultants. So I often charge, retainer based prices. But also the third thing is, as you know, Pod Intelligence is a AI driven but human verified services. And we charge definitely a bit more than just, oh, your AI does everything, good luck, and there may be some junk in here, whatever, you deal with it. So you don't have to answer or address to all three of them, but maybe which category do you want to pick, and just like give us some M&Ms so for us to remember and chew on.
Absolutely. So there's a very technical term, which is price elasticity. It's the economist term, doesn't really matter. But what it tells you is, when you increase the price, how does the demand react, right? So usually people think, okay, I increase the price, I decrease the number of people that want to buy this, right? That's logical. That's also completely untrue for most of your audience, because it doesn't work that way. And because it responds not, you increase the price for 20% and you lose about 20% of people. Absolutely not. Why? Well, for the same reason that you don't really see that in medicine, right? If you need some meds and you increase it for 20%, unfortunately, what can people do? Nothing. Just continue buying, right? So why is expertise not a commodity? Because people are very different. So I can't say, I don't need Adam. Yeah, he's a developer. I know a developer. My nephew is a developer. He can do the same things. No, he cannot. No, he cannot. So you need specialists, and you can't find them around the corner. And when you can find them, and you can't really tell which one is good and which one is bad, and all of that simply creates a different situation. So what usually happens is, when people like this increase their price, they actually increase the number of people that want to buy from them. And that this sounds very counterintuitive, but I'll explain, and it will only take me another minute. So just a second. No, but yeah. So when let's say my back hurts, I'll just walk more, right? I'll get a dog. No, I won't. And then one morning, I can't get up from my bed. It hurts so much. Right then, I don't want the friendly price chiropractor. I want the best one that my money can buy now. So it's
Mhm.
extremely dangerous to be a friendly priced expert. Nobody wants that. If I don't have a problem, I don't want an expert. Maybe I want a pair of hands. I'm not willing to pay expert prices for that. But if I have a problem and I need an expert, I need somebody who is reassuringly expensive, not suspiciously cheap.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this effect, along with the price inelasticity, creates an reality that people are not ready for, and it's always gratifying to see that again and again and again people try it out and say this is magic. No, it's not. It's
Mhm.
economics, but nobody teaches you these things. We are only usually taught to be employed, not self-employed, right? And this is what I want to shout from the rooftops. You know the ugly duckling fable, right? You people
Mm.
are not ducks. You're swans.
Mhm. Mhm.
The rules for pricing that we get taught, which are completely correct for Coca-Cola, which are completely correct for cans of tuna and this and that, are not correct for expert services. Those are
Mhm.
commodities or ducks. You guys are swans.
Mhm. Thank you so much, and this is very helpful. I like how you summarize this. It's true. It is definitely also to our knowledge. Like we could have priced pod intelligence very differently. We could not apply any human touch to it, but it's so important for the quality, and then that that genuine desire to learn about their businesses, the topics that they care about, is really is the silver lining. So, Adam,
I
before
really
we
like
part,
the. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I really like the human curated, because I
Mm,
think that's going to be so people talk about AI all of the time, but
mm,
human curated, I think that's a layer on top that you
mhm.
don't really hear about often. So I
True.
really like that.
Yeah, we're proud of it. We're not 100% automated, but AI does a lot of the work, and then the final touch is irreplaceable. So, Adam, before we part ways for today's live stream, any wisdom, advice related or unrelated to PI that you want to share?
Sure. So, as we said before, in case someone's joining us a little bit late, please send us your content. So,
Mhm.
because you can see our hearts are in the right place, you might even believe that it so-called works, but will it work for you? You're the
Mhm.
only one who can judge that. We really look forward to proving it. So, if you're a podcaster, YouTuber, webinar host, if you've got audio or video content, send us half an hour, send us an hour, and we'll send you back the results, and then you can judge. And we're
Mhm.
really kind of psyched to do that, to show and prove it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big difference. And most of the, a lot of the tools backed by VC and all these big investors, you go to their website, you have a general support inbox. But when you email us, you're really emailing Adam and myself. And I hope, Philip could be on our team one day and, help us reach more people. But you're reaching an actual person who cares about you, your content. And having been, um, I have been a creator for over 8 years, onto my ninth year. I know it's not trivial. In retrospect, you're like, oh, I did this. It wasn't perfect, or whatever. I was silly. That was my best video. No, you actually put a lot of your heart and soul into what you created, and it's going to resonate with people. And there's just that, extra layer of knowledge and care that can really show you that you can turn your content into a business. But first, you have to understand what it is, what you talked about, how they actually connect, where the opportunities are. With that said, I just want to thank everybody for watching this live stream, and we hope to return with more evidence, stories, use cases, and all that jazz. Thank you so much, guys, and goodbye, live audience. We'll see you next time. You guys want to
Right.
wave?